Okay, so let's take a look at Kim Krans' other oracle deck, which is the Archetypes. And it comes in this big box with this superb guidebook, which I enjoy working with. You can see it's well used, got creases, but the binding is actually very nice. Okay. And the cards come in this lovely jewel-like box. I just love it. And you just bring them out, and there they are. Okay, so one thing to flag up right from the word go is that the cards are organized in 4 different themes, okay? So you have 78 cards, archetype cards in this deck, and they divide up into 4 different piles, and I'll say a little bit about that at the end of the flip through. They divide up in selves, places, tools, and initiations, okay? So just be aware of that. There's a reading which divides up the deck into these 4 parts, and it's really interesting to work with those 4 parts. So just flipping through, starting with the poet in no particular order, and on the back you can see you've got the diamond shape, which is so nice. The shadow. And again, love the use of color. Kim's got fantastic eye for the coloring. The Destroyer. And you might recognize yourself in some of these, and that's okay. Go with it. So you may have noticed that I've just turned down the light a little bit on them because I think they were a little bit overexposed. So the unseen, the sustainer. Healer. And the cards can get a little bit sticky at times, which is why I want to make sure that I'm not missing any, because they're less sticky now than they used to be. When I first got them, they were a fair bit sticky. Shapeshifter. Comic. I love this card. Pilgrim. Maiden. And Kim herself says that only so many could make it into the deck. In the book, she talks about that and about the dilemma of who to include. I love that the archetypes that she's gone for, they make sense, and there's a lot of other ones that could have been but actually can link in to these archetypes as well. Love the ocean. And the forest, yes. And the heart. This one comes out a lot for me for some reason. So you get a feel for the ones that are places, the ones that are tools. You know, the river, clearly a place. The box, clearly a tool. The threshold. Temple. Beautiful. Love that mountain. Dead end. Village. So hopefully these are coming through okay. The Bardo, which is the place of death. That's a bit of a shortcut, but never mind. The Bridge. The Stone. So you can use these when you are doing a complex reading where you need to have the self expressed as an archetype. So rather than picking one of your tarot deck cards, you might use one of these to define the self. And you may use one to define the shadow as well, or define challenges that are with you. So you could have a couple of these and then have your tarot spread exploring the challenges of yourself and of your shadow, for example. That I use it a lot in that context. Love that medallion. Prayer. That comes out as well. The Riddle. And then you have Althea. So these are the initiations. Eros. Anima Mundi. Thanatos, Apocalypsis, Gnosis, Agape, and Kairos. All right, and this completes the flip through. So I was going to mention the reading your story, and I don't use card rotation. I just take them as they come, but then if you know me, you know that I don't do reversals. I love this way of working with the deck, which is the inner quest, and you have one card that comes out from the selves, one that comes out from the places, one that comes out from the tools, and one from the initiations. So you'll have to separate your deck first into those 4 categories, and then you mix them up, shuffle them, and pick one for each, and it kind of gives you the inner quest, the story, and it gives you your story, okay, what archetype you're working with, where you're at in your development. So it's very much a development deck, I find this one. Okay, so really exploring the self and exploring your own inner development. And the tools are fabulous. I just love working with those tools. And the why, which is going to be your initiations. Okay, so there's less of those. I think there's only 8 of those cards. There's 30 of these, and then I think it's maybe 20 of each of these. No, maybe that's too many. That's too many in the deck. So anyway, it all amounts to 78. So whatever, you know, spreading out, that is, there's 8 and 30. I'm sure of that. So then, yes, it's probably 20 and 20. Okay, love this. Love working with the deck. Love working with it for exploration with the self, of the self, exploration of the self in a tarot reading, and exploration of the shadow in a tarot reading as well. Excellent deck for that purpose. And excellent deck for generally knowing which archetypes are working through you at any one point, or which archetypes you are working through at any one point. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a minute, just swing by our Patreon as well. It would be very much appreciated.